Good afternoon and welcome to Tyngsborough TV's Friday Wrap-Up. I am Steve Brogan, the Town Media Director, and this, as I said, is the Friday Wrap-Up. It's finally Friday. I can't believe it. I'm excited. It's the one day of the week that I think everybody looks forward to. Unless you work on Fridays, that's probably not the best day.
It's my Monday.
Right. So that voice that you are hearing, if you saw on the wide shot, that is, well, I'll reveal him in just a minute, but he is a local police officer, not in the town of Tyngsborough, but in the next town over, but he does live in Tyngsborough, so that's his tie-in there. Quickly before we get to our guest, don't forget you can watch this broadcast on the multitude of places that we put it out on. Facebook, on the various pages we've shared it out on, as well as YouTube. You can watch it there. You can watch it if you live in Tyngsborough on Comcast Channel 8 and Verizon Channel 29. And you can watch us at tyngsboroughma.gov on our video on demand and streaming service. So without further ado, the special guest I want to introduce, Mr. Dave Leo. How you doing, Dave?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you. Doing good. It's Friday, so I'm excited.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we got Dave on. He has a very interesting job. He is a canine officer for the town of Chelmsford, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And but you do live in Tyngsborough, so that's cool. We don't have to.
Born and raised there.
There we go. All right. So there you go. So we don't have to throw them out. So what we're going to do is talk about kind of what you do as a canine officer. You can talk about some of your experiences, maybe tell some stories, things like that. And then later on in the broadcast, at about the 11:45 mark, we're going to bring in Dave's canine officer.
Flacco.
Yeah, I wanted to say dog. I'm trying to think of the way to describe him, but yeah, Flacco, your canine, and do a little demonstration with him.
We'll do a little.
All right, so that should be pretty cool. So, so I guess let's start at the beginning, Dave. Tell me about a little about yourself and what got you into police work.
Like I said, I was born and raised here, and I knew at a young age that I wanted to be a police officer. It's better than being on the other side of the fence, so I figured I'd be a cop.
Rather to chase the bad guy than be chased by the good guys.
Well, I did enough of that when I was younger. So, and I worked at my uncle's movie theater, and we had police details in Chelmsford, and that's how I got to know a lot of the guys there. And when I was younger, they said, they had an auxiliary police department there, and they said you should get on. So I put in my application, I got accepted, and I got on. And I was an auxiliary in Chelmsford for 8 years. Okay. For 8 years, kept taking the civil service test, and finally scored high enough and got hired by Chelmsford. Nice.
So what's the difference? What is auxiliary exactly?
Auxiliary.
How does that work?
What we do, we considered part-timers.
Okay.
We have police powers. What we did back then was, it's a little different now with the accreditations and everything else. We had 2 police cruisers fully marked. We drove around, we checked town property. If people went away on vacation, they would call the station, say they're going to be away these dates, and we would check their houses. Oh, okay. We worked all the town functions, parades, and whatnot whenever they needed, a large presence. And we worked road jobs, details.
Oh, okay.
Because at that time, they were starting the sewerage project in Chelmsford.
Oh, okay, which I'm sure they needed a lot of details for.
Yeah, there were a lot of details, and it lasted 30 years.
Wow.
To do the whole town.
That's some job security right there.
Yes, yes,
yes. Guys probably started and retired from that same gig, huh?
Yeah,
pretty much.
It was nice.
So you're basically like backup police officers, should they need extra people, or when officers retire, the auxiliary guys maybe get the first chance at some of those jobs?
If they're on the civil service list. And,
okay.
And I was, it helped when I got on the civil service list. Everybody knew me, as well as probably half our department used to be auxiliaries, including our chief. I was his sergeant. We were auxiliaries.
Really?
Yes.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Wait, so you were the boss of the chief?
I was the boss of the chief for a little while.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. That was dangerous.
I can imagine.
But a lot of our guys that are on were auxiliaries, and it just makes it that much easier. When I came up to be hired, they knew me. I'd been around, and I knew how everything worked. So I went through the academy, came out, and started working. Okay. Like I said, we have civil service. Tyngsborough is not civil service. Okay. If I had my choice, I'd have no civil service. Yeah. I would just be like Tyngsborough is.
So I guess explain the difference between civil service and not having civil service.
Civil service is run through the state. You take the test, you get put on a list.
Oh.
And if they're going to hire, say they're going to hire one guy in Chelmsford, they have to call for 3 names. And if they don't want to hire somebody from that, they have to. They have to have a reason to skip over somebody.
Oh, okay.
It might not be a good fit. there might be some other things that, they know of this person that they don't want to hire them.
Mhm.
That's why I like the way Tyngsborough does it. You
Mhm.
become a reserve here.
Mhm.
You work.
Mhm.
You go through the the reserve academy. You work shifts. They get to know you and see how you're going to work out. And then when there's an open position, they get to hire you.
Mhm.
They get to hire you.
Or maybe not if you don't work out
Correct.
the way the chief
Right.
expected you to or
Right.
something.
Right.
Okay, interesting. So it's basically a way of weeding out the good from the not
Right.
as good officers. Okay.
Right.
Maybe gives a benefit to
Yeah.
the good guys.
I would, if we could get rid of civil service, I'd do it in a heartbeat. But it's not up to me.
Right. Yeah.
up to
Unfortunately,
me.
we don't get to control a lot of
No,
that stuff
no.
as much as we. Don't before I forget. If you have any questions for Dave or me, feel free to leave them in the Facebook comment section or the YouTube comment section. I'm taking a look at both of those. Don Damaris says hi, Dave.
Hi,
So
Don.
you already got people watching there. So I would say that you probably have, of all the jobs in the department, probably the most enviable job, especially for an animal lover. You get to handle a dog. That's your partner.
Yes.
You're not just out there by yourself on patrol or however that works. But you have a kind of a pretty cool gig.
Yes. Yes. I got a new cruiser,
Mhm.
nice new Tahoe,
Mhm.
all the cool equipment, but it doesn't matter with all that stuff if you don't work your dog.
Right. Okay.
You've got to work the dog, and I work my dog.
Mhm.
I do a lot of narcotic searches. I track a lot of people. I'm on call 24/7, 365, unless I'm laying on a beach and on an island somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I'm on call.
Okay.
I'm on call.
So it's a busy job then. It's not one of
Yes.
it's not a relaxed gig. You're out doing stuff every. I mean, what are your shifts? You work 4 days a week, I imagine.
I
Something
work
around
I work a 4 and 2. I work a split shift. I work 2 nights, then 2 day shifts.
Oh, okay.
But I have to be kind of particular about what I work for details and this
Mhm.
and that, because I could work my my night shift, work a detail during the day, work my night shift, go home, get into bed, and an hour later the phone rings and I'm out all night long.
Really?
Yeah. So I
Wow.
never know when I'm going to get called.
So it's an on call. I mean, you're essentially waiting for something
Yes.
to happen, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
I get to go out. I go to all the cool calls,
Yeah. Right.
all the good calls. I get involved in all the action,
Yeah.
which is what I like.
Well, you're out there because your dog is either trying to find drugs, or chasing a bad guy, or tracking a bad guy.
Right.
What else? What else do they do? What other kind of?
We do building searches.
Mhm.
As of late, last couple of years, the majority of our searches are emotionally disturbed people.
Mhm.
We do a lot of that.
Really?
A lot of that. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, we do a lot of that. I would
Is
chase.
that, let me ask you, since you started, is there more of that now?
Oh
or
yeah. Absolutely.
Really? Okay.
Absolutely.
Interesting. What
Yes.
drives people to that?
I don't know. Bad days.
I guess. Yeah.
Everybody has a bad day.
Yeah.
And we get that. And they make threats, and once
Huh.
you make a threat, and they take off, we got to go find them.
Mm.
And when the call goes out, if there was a call in this town, I'd come over, help out with the canine here, and we determine whether we need more dogs, and then we put a call out to Nimlik, and we'd get, 15, 16 dogs,
Mhm.
depending on who's working, who's around, and we would flood an area. The technology these days with the phone and everything else, we can track them if they have their phone. If they don't have their phone, it's, we do the best we can.
Mhm.
We have bloodhounds
Mhm.
on the unit.
So before we I want to talk about Nemlek in a minute, but before we get into that, how does Flacco respond to the odd hour call? So I mean, like anybody else, I'm sure he likes his sleep. But does he
Yes.
just, like, as soon as you're ready to go, does he jump up and he's off and ready, or is he like?
If I'm dressed like this,
Yeah.
he knows we're going to work.
Okay. All right.
So if I take him out of the crate and let him run around the backyard, and I'm in, shorts and a T-shirt, he just floats around, does his own thing in the backyard, sniffs everything. And,
Okay.
And
Typical dog stuff.
Yeah, typical dog stuff. And
Okay.
then I'll call him, and he'll look over at me and go, If I'm dressed like this, I don't have to call him twice,
Really?
because he knows.
Okay.
He knows we're going to work, and he runs for the cruiser.
Now, what kind of dog is he?
He's a German Shepherd.
Okay. Pure blood.
Yep.
Pure blood, rather.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. Really? Is that is there a reason why they pick German Shepherds for this type of work?
They've got good noses. They can
Okay.
and they can track and track and track. And the old days, it was the big junkyard dog.
Yeah.
The big German Shepherd, 100 pounds, that bites everybody.
Mhm.
That's not the case anymore. Dogs are a little smaller, and we don't use them to bite. That's not our main thing. That's a very small part of what we do
Mhm.
as far as the apprehension work.
Mhm.
You can't bite them if you can't find them. So my bread and butter is tracking.
Okay.
And they go further. Flacco's 65 pounds, so he's the smallest shepherd
So
I've
he's a
had.
little guy then.
Yeah.
As far as shepherds go,
Yes.
anyways. Okay.
Yes. But the majority of them are smaller now.
Interesting.
Yeah, a 100-pound dog is not going to track forever because they're just a big dog.
Right. Yeah.
And you're going through backyards and stuff, and you don't want them to jump every single fence, even though they could. So you got to help them over the fence.
Mhm.
A 100-pound dog, after a while, it gets a little tiring.
I can imagine. I can imagine.
Gets a little tiring.
So you had mentioned you're on your third dog now.
Yes.
This is your third dog. How does the training work for the dogs? Do they come to you fully trained and ready to go, and then you do your work with them, or is it, you're training them from the ground up?
A lot of these dogs now come with they've got the basic obedience, apprehension, tracking.
Okay.
Because the vendors that we deal with are taking these dogs as young puppies and working them
Okay.
to see how they make out. We get the dogs typically when they're a year and a half old.
Okay.
For me to get a puppy 8 weeks old to 10 weeks old and say that's my next partner, it's a gamble.
Really?
Because you don't know what he's going to be like
Okay.
when he gets to be a year. So these people breed these dogs, and they do all the work, all the foundation work, and out of 7 dogs, they might say, okay, these 3 are going to be police dogs. The other 4 are good dogs, but they're going to be like people's pets.
Okay. So they kind of flunk out of the
Right.
police academy, basically.
But even the ones that flunk out make good pets. They're good dogs, good protection dogs for somebody's
sure,
house
yeah, right.
and stuff like that. So they're not. It's not like they're no good. They just they won't do the police work.
Now, is the shepherd the only type of dog that they use for canine, or is there other?
The majority
other
of Marsh
breeds?
shepherds, but a lot of guys have Belgian Malinois.
Okay.
They look like a small German shepherd.
Okay.
High drive dog, not a dog for a first time handler.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a dog. Yeah. They're just because they're crazy. crazy dogs. The shepherds, I think, track better.
Okay.
And there's a few people out there that might dispute that, but I like the shepherds.
Be like having a Jack Russell Terrier for a dog, I would imagine, for a canine.
Yeah,
That's not
it's
going to work well.
In Chelmsford, when I take the dog out of the car, they need to see a German shepherd, because if I had a Belgian Malinois, they'd be like, "What kind of dog is that? What kind of dog is that?" So
That's
I like the shepherds.
That's fine. Okay, cool. It's Paul Erickson asked, did he transfer to Tyngsborough? No, I can answer that one. No, he did not transfer to Tyngsborough. He's actually in Chelmsford, but you live in Tyngsborough, so that's kind of why the tie-in. And then we've chatted a bunch on Facebook.
He's just messing around. That's Paul.
Okay.
I know Paul.
Okay. All right. So you're also part of NEMLAC,
Yes.
which that's another whole. So for folks who don't know what that is, that's the Northeast Massachusetts Law Enforcement Council.
Correct.
Which is 64 communities that all put into NEMLAC basically, and can draw upon NEMLAC for whatever they need, whatever the event is. Chief House talked about, like, when Trump came to town, they pulled a number of officers, or for a big track like we've talked about off camera and some other things like that. Which is pretty fascinating, actually.
Yeah, we cover from Tyngsborough to Somerville, from Newton out to Gloucester, and everything in between.
Okay.
And depending on what's going on, we have a missing, Alzheimer's patient, or a missing kid, or a bad guy, a real bad guy on the loose. We'll do a NIMLA call out, and we have 17 dogs on the unit.
17, wow.
And depending on what's going on, you might get a dozen, maybe less.
Okay.
But the more for me to go to a call, like if I get a call, I'm going to be tracking a bad guy. I always know who's working, and I'll call for a second dog. Always good to have a second dog on standby, because you never know what's going to happen to your dog. I mean, we had a bank robbery in my town in Chelmsford a few years back, and the guy ran through the parking lot. So on my way down there, I called for a couple other dogs. I knew who was working. So we had 3 or 4 dogs on standby waiting. I did a track. I tracked for about an hour and a half, got into a swamp, and it was a cold day. Dog was in the water, and he started doing he was starting to get hypothermic.
Oh, no.
So I knew my dog was done. And I didn't want to encounter a bad guy in the woods when my dog was, almost ready to collapse. Called for another dog. That dog came up, picked it up where I left off, and tracked him. We got the bank robber.
Really?
So that's
no kidding.
I mean, would I have liked to have tracked him and found him? Yes. But that's part of the team. That's part of NIMLAC. That's what we do. We have several dogs, and we do what we can, and we go as far as we can with our dogs and call for another dog.
See, I see that a couple different ways. I think you're being a responsible dog owner as well, where you're not going to push your dog until he passes out. You're going to give him that break. Right. Let him chill and let somebody else take over, as much as you want to, like, get the bad guy.
Yeah, and he was out. He was out for another hour.
Really?
In the swamp.
Oh, wow.
And it was the Danvers canine. Who's part of NIMLAC, and he's also on the SWAT team. And they were down the road training. And he said another 10 minutes, his dog was done. But
really?
we had Borica on standby. The Borica canine was there, and we had Middlesex, who's on NIMLAC. his dog was there. So we had a couple dogs on standby.
Oh, okay. How many canines do towns usually have? One? Is it just one dog?
Most of them have one. Lowell's got another. Lowell's going to have two.
Okay.
Well, actually 3. They've got the Bloodhound and 2 patrol dogs.
Okay.
And the second patrol dog right now is 5-6 weeks into the academy. So the academy's 14 weeks. And
Okay.
It's through Boston Canine.
Oh, okay. They all come out of Boston?
Majority.
Okay.
Some train out of Plymouth with the sheriff's department down there, but the majority in this area are out of Boston.
Okay.
All 3 dogs I've gone through Boston.
So note to the bad guys, if you don't want to get chased by up to 17 dogs, don't do anything stupid
Right.
about that. Stop robbing banks and whatever else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I was reading a comment. Don Demaris said something. I'm not sure what he means. Malinois all day, he says.
Oh my
No,
God. Yeah. He would know. He's an expert.
There you go.
He's a mechanic.
There you go. So, do you like your job? I imagine you do.
Love doing my job.
Yeah.
Love doing my job. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun.
I imagine you get good reward from it too. Like, inner reward, that feeling that you get to.
A lot of guys, I hope it's quiet tonight. Not me.
Yeah.
I jinx all day long.
Yeah.
Jeez, it's kind of quiet tonight. They're like, will you shut up?
That's funny.
I want it busy.
Mhm.
I want it to be busy. And I love working the dog. Love working the dog.
Interesting.
So
were you, I imagine as Nemlek, you were probably down in Boston when
Yes.
the marathon bombings happened, that kind of stuff.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sent everybody down. It was all hands on deck for that one.
Yeah.
All hands on deck. I had just put in for Nimlik at that point.
Okay.
I went down the first night, and the rest of the week, all our guys were there. I was back here covering up here,
Oh, okay.
and I was busy up here. But the first night, it was chaotic. We really didn't know what was going on. So we went down there, and it was just, it was controlled chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Controlled chaos. Sort of like the Lawrence thing.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That was another one where they was
Yeah.
just all hands on deck. And,
Pretty much.
Police, fire, everybody
Yep.
started running out there.
Yeah.
What was that experience like up in Lawrence and Andover area?
It was a lot of running around.
Yeah.
It was a lot because we didn't know what was going to go next.
Yeah.
They had several explosions and whatnot. And my job, I was down there the first weekend every night,
Mm-hmm.
and my job was patrolling, and we were blocking off streets and patrolling. Just drove around with my blue lights on. That's what they wanted us to do.
Really?
And it was not a lot going on. Like as far as there was nothing, they were afraid of looting and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't the case.
Really?
Everybody was pretty well behaved, and plus a lot of people left town because they cut the power and everything else.
There was no way you could really stick around. You didn't have heat. You didn't have
Right.
lights. Nothing.
Right. And we've been working the details down there now. All the guys from Nimlik, we've been working a lot of details in Lawrence, and the residents that have come back to the house, they've been great. It's a long road for them,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel bad, but they appreciate the work that's getting done down there, and they
Mhm.
show it to us. If they leave their house, they're going to get coffee. They're always asking, you need anything? You want a
Nice.
coffee? Because we're doing long days down there.
Yeah.
10, 12, 14 hours. So the people in Lawrence, have been really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
You told me an interesting statistic about crime in Lawrence,
Yes,
A little
I
bit
heard
ago.
I don't know if it's true, but I heard the other night that crime in Lawrence has dropped 20%.
that's remarkable. 'Cause,
Yes.
I mean, this Lawrence. So
There's cops everywhere down
Yeah.
there. Cops everywhere, people everywhere. But the parts of Lawrence I've been in, people have been great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good.
No complaints.
how do so on that note, how do people receive canine when they see canine show up in their area for whatever the incident is? How do they receive that?
What's going on? Something's going on.
Something must be big.
The dogs are here. The dogs are here.
Yeah.
It's funny. Can I pat them? No. Some dogs you can.
Yeah.
Some dogs are really sociable, and you could pat my dog, but I don't allow it. I just don't allow it because if
Yeah.
he bites you, it's my fault,
Right. Yeah. You're on the hook for that.
and I got to do a
unfortunately.
report, and I don't like to type reports.
Mm.
Ask any of my bosses. I do not like to type.
So you, I guess I'm always curious about what the life of the dog is. We talked a bit off camera about how you handle the dog. Kind of clue people into some of that stuff. Just basically like, it's not like a typical house pet dog where
Correct.
your kids get to play with him
Right.
and he's just kind of running free, hanging out on the couch. He's treated differently
Yes.
than that.
Yeah. My first dog. I'm on my third dog.
Okay.
So my first dog was more like this dog, a little more sociable,
Mm-hmm.
even-tempered. My second dog was vicious.
Really?
Yeah. He
Okay.
was a black shepherd, Axel. Great tracker, great drug dog, but just wanted to bite everybody.
Oh, really?
And now, being on Nimlik, I'm attached to the SWAT team. And out of the 17 dogs, there's 3 or 4 of us that do the SWAT calls, where I'll go into a building with the SWAT guys, and they're all wearing their outfits, and it looks kind of like a bite suit that we train with. So,
okay.
yeah, you know, some dogs can do it, some dogs can't. My dog, I send him, you know, we'll go into the stack, you know, all on the line, and we'll move into a house, and he'll go out, search as far as he can, then he'll come back, won't even bother with the guys, you know, so it's really good. Typically, we get 8 guys into a van. I jump in the back with the 8 guys with the dog.
Okay.
And he lays on their feet.
Okay.
And he's fine.
Interesting.
Yeah. So,
really?
So some dogs have it. Some dogs just can't do it.
Interesting.
You know, they're good dogs. They just can't be around a lot of people.
Okay. Have you encountered other dogs like that? Other canines that just they can't be around people?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Like my second dog.
Right. Okay.
Couldn't do it. And when I track, I have a 30-foot leash. With Flacco, I can have 3 or 4 backup guys if I'm really looking for a bad guy that can run right beside me. With Axel, it was, I'd say, 30 feet. Don't come near me.
Really?
Because he'll track, but if you get too close, he would have tried to grab you.
Really?
Yeah. So it's just like,
Now, what about the dynamic of working with other canine dogs? Like, how does the dog? Because they're all alphas. I mean, obviously, these are dogs that they don't want to play nice with other people. They want to chase the bad guy. Yeah. But how do they play with other dogs, or do they even interact?
They don't interact.
Okay.
They don't interact. Once in a while, we'll have 2 guys get into a van, and it's usually one dog at the front of the van, the other dog at the back, because.
So you're keeping some physical space there. Okay.
Yeah. Because they they might seem fine, but at the drop of a hat, they'll turn around and look at each other and just want to go at it.
Interesting.
Nothing worse than a dog fight.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Nothing worse.
You can't really break those ones up. Those are tough.
No, it's tough.
Dennis Leach wants your autograph.
He can have it tonight. He can have it tonight when he calls me to search a car for him.
There you go. There you go. So keep him busy. If you give him a job to do that, he'll be happy. So being with SWAT, I imagine you have some crazy stories. You must have some pretty fascinating stuff that you've been on calls. I mean, obviously, like the marathon thing we talked about and the Lawrence thing, but any like memorable kind of times or incidents that you can remember?
There's been all kinds.
Yeah.
I got shot at once with my first dog.
Did you really?
Yeah. We had a home invasion in Chelmsford. That was back, that was a while ago.
That's an uncomfortable experience, I can imagine.
2007, I think it was, 2008.
Okay.
We had a home invasion. It was I was covering an area that night. We had the house alarm at 11:30. My shift's over at midnight. Just wanted to get there, talk to the homeowner about how they set their alarm off, and that wasn't the case.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't the case. When I rolled up, I still rolled up, and I try to keep my wits about me, and you got to be on your game because you never know what you're going to run into. And luckily, I didn't just roll into the driveway, and because there was 2 bad guys in the driveway, and one running back in the house, and the other one ran in the woods.
Oh wow, really?
So I ran out. I grabbed the dog and called in and said, I don't know what I have, but I'm going in the woods after somebody. And when I went in the woods after him, he shot at me. Really? Yeah. Luckily, it was a bad shot. So
bad guys always seem to be terrible shots, especially in movies.
Yeah.
They could be right in front of you and they can't hit anything.
Yeah. So it's not like it's on TV.
Right. Yeah.
That's for sure. But we got the guy that went in the house.
Okay.
We got the guy that went in the house. We never got the guy that shot at me, and we did an IMLA call out. We got other dogs.
I'm
there.
sure you wanted him too. I bet.
Yeah. Yeah. And the guy that we did catch, went to trial and everything else, and he was given 20 years to serve, and they were going to knock it in half if he gave the name of the guy that shot at me.
Really?
And he wouldn't.
And he wouldn't do it.
Wouldn't give the name.
Wow, you're kidding me.
Nope, wouldn't give the name.
That's crazy.
So he was a young kid, and he's in for 20 years.
Jeez. Yep. Just to keep his friend. I mean, you don't want to be a snitch and go to prison because you're probably going to get.
Well, it was kind of.
You're going to get Whitey Bulgered, let's say.
Yeah, it was kind of gang related too. So
okay.
If he had given up the name, his family would have paid for it probably.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So,
Hey,
But that, I went out to Pepperell one night and we had guys shooting, blowing rounds off at us. SWAT team was there. Our SWAT guys had night vision, walked right up on him. Never even saw it. Yeah, never even saw it coming.
Jeez.
So that was a good one.
Yeah. So don't screw with SWAT teams.
Yeah.
Or K9.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's wow.
Yeah, the SWAT guys do a great job.
Yeah.
Do a great job, and these days here, you're better off safe than sorry. And the majority of the shootings that are taking place are in towns comparable to Chelmsford, Tyngsborough, not the big cities. You have them in the big cities.
Right, of course, yeah.
But in these smaller towns, a lot of these smaller towns don't have the resources. We're lucky we have the NIMLIC resource. And if you're gonna go to a house and lock somebody up for a warrant or whatever, and they've been known to have weapons or violent, just put out a call. Doesn't cost the town anything.
Right.
SWAT call.
Yeah. Well, like I had said earlier, that's something that the chief here's talked about. Chief, how it's a resource that's you can't even calculate the value that you get from that resource because it's everything. I mean, you've got motorcycle units, SWAT units, the canine units,
Bicycles.
bicycle units,
Yep.
everything really. You
Yeah.
know, and then if you really need it, you can call in the State Police Air Wing, and you can have helicopters tracking people.
We call those guys all the time.
Do you?
Love the air wing.
Yeah.
Those guys, good guys are on the air wing, and
Nice.
they love to. They're like us. They want to come out. You know, because I'll go to towns and say, okay, we got a missing kid. How long's he been missing? Depends. Depends. I'll do what we call a hasty sweep.
Mm-hmm.
Quickly.
Mm-hmm.
If it's going to go any further, like call the air wing. And a lot of the departments are like, ooh, do you think we need the air wing? It's like, yes, call them. You don't have to pay for gas.
Mm-hmm.
Just call them.
Just get them out here.
Just get them out here.
Yeah, the State Police take care of the rest.
And those guys want to come out. They want to come out.
Well, like a good pilot, they want to fly.
Yeah.
So, and plus, I'm sure like a canine, it's fun to go to. You want to
Yes.
go and find the guy,
Yeah.
and they've got the resources that SWAT might have night vision and stuff, but they
Right.
can see with night vision from
Yes.
above, so you're not hiding from that.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No.
There's no way around that one.
No.
Yeah.
No. That's a great resource. I wish we had our own helicopter.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Well, we have a drone.
I'd put in for that.
So as you're a patrolman, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, are you out like pulling people over and doing that kind of stuff as well? Sort of
Yes.
the general patrolman work. Okay.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you're not just running out with the dog and going to those calls. You're just doing general.
I'm
police
just
work
doing.
as well.
I do patrol. If we're short-handed, I cover an area.
Okay.
If not, I'm a rover. So I'll float all over town, backing guys up, house
okay.
alarms, motor vehicle stops. A lot of times when I'm floating around, I'll be running the plate. If one of our officers stop a car, I'll run the plate,
Mhm.
see who it is.
Mhm.
I do a lot of work with the vice unit in Lowell. So
Okay.
So I know a lot of what to look for because I've been doing it for so long. The average patrolman might not know what they have. They might think that they just had somebody that just went through a red light or a stop sign. They might have somebody that's here in our towns doing something illegal. And I can tell a lot of times by looking at the plate, running the plate, see who's run it,
Yeah.
and looking at different things. And, do you need me over there? No, I'm all set. No, I don't think you're all set. And
Really?
I'll float over there.
So you're
But
doing
that
a
com-
touch of detective work at
Yeah,
the same
that-
time helping the
But
guys.
that comes with experience.
Mhm.
The longer you've been on, you see a lot of it.
Mhm.
Because every time I go to a call to search a car for these drug units, I'll ask where they from, this and that, and it's fun. I love searching cars.
Mm.
Love putting the dog in the car. The dog indicates for narcotics. No narcotics there, but there are narcotics, but they're hidden.
Interesting.
Finding electronic hides
Interesting. Huh.
in vehicles.
Do you run into a lot of that?
It's not like it used to be, but we still have them.
Because that seems like a kind of a high tech thing for the average drug dealer.
It's all part of doing
You know.
business.
Yeah.
So they buy a car for $5,000. If they spend a couple of thousand to have a electronic hide put in their car, that's just all part of doing business.
Huh.
Interesting. It's all part of doing business. I've seen hides. You have to hit certain switches, and the electronic door opens up, and it's crazy.
Really?
Some of the stuff, if you saw it, it just blows you away.
Really?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question then on that. What's the kind of the dumbest hide you've ever seen and the smartest one you've ever seen? Not that we want to give anybody ideas, but
The dumbest one.
like, do they wrap it in peanut butter or something? You know what I mean? Like that
yeah.
kind of-
They always try to mask the odor.
Yeah.
They always try to mask the odor, and the way that I explain it is, if you walk into a house and somebody's cooking beef stew, what do you smell? You smell beef stew.
Mhm.
The dog would smell the onions, the broth, the vegetables, the beef. He breaks down everything. So when he gets into a car and somebody has air fresheners, they do coffee, they do pepper,
Huh.
all kinds of stuff to mask the odor, he smells that, but he also smells the drugs.
Interesting.
He breaks everything down where we just smell the air fresheners.
So you think you can put one over on the dog, but you really can't.
No, they try.
Huh.
They try, and they stand there, and I do the search, and as soon as the dog, alerts or indicates for the narcotics,
Mm-hmm.
they drop their head because they know the game's over.
Interesting.
That's their
Really?
job, though.
Yeah.
My job is to find it. Their job is to hide it. And it's, when they know they've been beat, it is what it is.
So for you, it's basically a game of cat and mouse.
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting.
It's fun.
Yeah, it
It's
seems
fun.
like it. How about the most sophisticated hide you've ever come across?
They push buttons. The radio will come out of the car.
Really?
The dashboard lifts up. The seat
Really?
folds down. The console's the old hide. The console would lift up on a trap door.
Okay.
And most of them, they're hard to open. You can't open them unless you find the wires
Okay.
because they're all wired up. They're very hard to open up.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So criminals, I mean, as much as we like to think that they're kind of dumb most of the time, and just doing things on because of circumstance or whatever, because it just happens to be there. These guys think about this thoroughly.
It's a job.
Pretty well.
That's their job. And you know, if we do find the stuff, we take their car, take their drugs, take their money, take their phones, and you know, that's just all part of doing business. If they get released, they have to make that all up, because they're short money, now they're short narcotics, so they have to go out and make that up because they're working for somebody. These guys aren't working for themselves; they're working for somebody else. You know, there's the big guy.
Right. There's always that big fish out there, isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting. Yep. Have you ever gotten to have any interactions or catch up with the big guys, or is it usually just the lower level guys you?
I had stopped one. I followed him from Chelmsford into Tyngsborough. This was a while ago. I had my first dog. There's some things, like I said, that I know what they're doing, and I followed him. He came into Tyngsborough. I followed him. He drove back into Chelmsford, back into Tyngsborough, and I wound up calling Tyngsborough and, you know, saying I need to, you know, I'm going to be stopping this car, and I wound up stopping the car. Car was loaded with drugs, loaded gun underneath the front seat. I got into a little bit of trouble with my boss because I left town without asking permission.
Okay.
But at the time, Chucky Coppolis was the sergeant, and I think Mulligan was the chief. I got 2 letters of accommodation from them. So
nice.
if I had gotten written up, I would have had 3 letters to hang on the wall. 1 bad one and 2 good ones. So.
Well, and it's not like you're doing it just because you want to go on a joyride.
No,
you're actually like,
no,
you know.
But we have rules we have to follow, and sometimes I kind of, you know, walk the line.
You know what?
I have good intentions.
It worked in Lethal Weapon. Why couldn't you do it in real life?
I know.
That's funny. What's your favorite cop movie?
I don't know. Jeez, top of my head. I don't know. I don't think I have.
I was expecting you to say like Turner and Hooch or something.
No, I don't think I have.
I don't think that's a cop movie.
I don't think I have a favorite. I'm only allowed to watch cop movies when my wife's doing stuff.
Okay.
When she sits down on the couch, it's no cop movies. Yeah, we can't watch. We can't watch cop movies.
Dancing with the Stars, or
she watches her boat show.
That's when he turns to her and goes, "Honey, I got to go out to the garage and take care of the dog."
I watch it.
That's funny.
I don't get that many nights off, so whatever's on, whatever you want to watch.
Yeah.
Except for when the Red Sox were on.
Well, of course, yeah. That's cool. Do you ever get call-outs to go down to Fenway or any of the other sporting events, those kind of things?
Yes. I've been down a few times for the Red Sox, Patriots.
Okay. We're
very spoiled here. We have a lot of championship teams.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Love living in New England.
Yeah, that's for sure. So the other day, half the Nimlik unit went down to Fenway, and the other half we went up to Salem for Halloween. We go to Salem, Mass. For Halloween night. So I didn't go to Fenway this year. I went up to Salem and spent 12 hours up there making sure everybody behaves. It was good. It was a good night. Good night up there. It wasn't too cold, so there was a lot of people.
Okay.
But it gets crazy up there for the month of October.
I've heard.
Yes.
I've never been down. I have a friend who lives there, and she's told me some stories about how, it's just, you don't go to Salem unless you absolutely want to go to Salem.
The thing with Salem is only one way in, one way out, pretty much.
Yeah.
You know, so we go down early. We get set up, and we had the motorcycles there. We had canines there. We had SWAT team there. So it was, you know, we did our thing.
Interesting.
We show the flag, and everybody, for the most part, behaves. The people that are going down there dressing up, those people are pretty much behaving. It's the locals that get a little carried away sometimes.
Okay.
But, you know, no heavy lifting.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. So Massachusetts legalized marijuana, and I wonder if that now, where you don't have to chase those guys necessarily, does that confuse the dog sometimes? Because, I mean, obviously it's drugs and you smell it. It's quite pungent.
Yeah.
Does that ever confuse them?
No. Well, depends on what when they call me to do a search, what are we searching for?
Okay.
You know, and if the guys, one of my guys says, I smell marijuana, it's like, it's kind of, our hands are tied because it is legalized and they're allowed to have so much. But the big thing is, you stop a car and you say, I smell marijuana, and they say, yeah, it's all gone. We just got done smoking it. Now they're OUI drugs.
You are intoxicated. Yep, and you're driving. You're right, yeah.
And you can lock them up for it and call for a DRE, if we have one, a drug recognition expert.
Okay.
Not that many in the state of Massachusetts, and they have the tests that they do. Hard enough getting a conviction for OUI, never mind drugs.
Right, yeah.
It's tough. It's really tough, unless you have blood. If they give it, but they don't consent to that.
Interesting, right? Yeah.
It's tough. I mean, everything. I mean, you just do what you can, and you can't be a roadside, lawyer or judge. You just got to do what you got to do, and whatever happens in court happens in court. A lot of the younger guys are like, if I do this, it's going to be, this is going to happen. It's like, just do what you got to do. Let the courts take care of it. And if they release them, they release them. What comes around goes around.
Without giving out, or without saying any names necessarily, what's been probably your most frustrating case that you've ever had to, somebody you've caught and then they just release, when you knew that it shouldn't have been?
Probably the guy that I got with my first dog, Andy, the reason why he died. That guy there was a known breaker, commercial business breaker, and he continued to do it after that.
Really?
Yeah. He continued to do it after that.
And unfortunately, like you told me off camera, led to the demise of the dog.
Correct.
Unfortunately, the passing of the dog.
Yep.
Jeez.
It's a revolving door.
Yeah.
We deal with a lot of the same people over and over.
Really?
Yeah.
Same faces all the time.
Yep. Pretty much.
Interesting. Does that get frustrating for you after a while?
No, I can't let it I can't let it frustrate me because then I probably won't do my job. It's just like I deal with what's put in front of me. If it's the same guy that I've dealt with before, whatever he does that day, I deal with him accordingly.
Okay.
So some of the younger guys, we try to tell them, don't get frustrated. Don't get frustrated because you're going to be dealing with a lot of the same people over and over and over. You just do deal with what you got.
It seems like a job, and interacting with you, where you kind of have to keep a sense of humor about things.
Yes.
In order to get through the day, sometimes it's not. If you get, like you said, if you get too frustrated or too serious about it, you're just going to be frustrated and
you
stressed out.
You try not to take a lot of it home. And depending on what we have, people pass away, we go to the house. Most people would be, standing there kind of somber. We don't do it in front of the family members, but
of course,
but we'll talk, we'll joke, and we've got a person that's deceased right there. That's our way of dealing with things. That's the way we deal. We deal with things, and to the average person, it might seem kind of like cold, but that's just the way we deal with things.
Well, I feel like until you're in those shoes, you wouldn't understand it. Like a lot of jobs, I think. You have to, again, like I said, you have to keep your kind of the sense of humor, your wits about you, in order to get through that. I'm always curious about that. I've asked the chief about that and a number of other local officers on and off camera, just like how you kind of deal with it, because you do see tough scenes, stuff with kids, deceased people, whatever, all kinds of different things, domestic disputes and things like that. I'm sure those are always fun to go
and
to.
My idea of something major is like perfect example. One of my kids acting up. My wife's like, "Oh my God, he's not behaving, this and that," and I'm like, "He's a kid. Trust me. The house I just came from, talk about a disaster. Our kids are great.
That must give you some really interesting perspective on life.
Yeah.
Now that you say that, huh?
Yeah. My kids are healthy. They do great in school. You know what? If they misbehave once in a while, we'll deal with it. We'll deal with it.
Yeah.
But for the most part, those two things, healthy and doing well in school, we can deal with anything. We'll deal with it.
Interesting. So getting back to Canine a little bit, I don't think I asked you this earlier, was what got you from being just regular police officer to Canine? Did you immediately, when you started, you were like, I want to be Canine, or did something happen along the line that kind of drove you to that?
When I first got on the job, shortly after I got on, I was put in the traffic unit.
Okay.
Because I like to stop a lot of cars.
Okay.
And write a lot of tickets. And I found that a lot of similarities in part of the town that I like North Chelmsford. That's close to home. I like North Chelmsford, certain part of town, and I found that a lot of the cars that I was stopping had a lot of similarities from the same area, same type of people driving, same criminal history, and started, finding narcotics on them.
Interesting.
And I'd find some, and I wouldn't find some, and I'm like, wow, it'd be nice if we had a dog. Hey, I think I'd like to be the Canine. And my chief at the time, I told him, if we ever do a dog, I'd love to do the dog. Love to do a dog, because I'd called the dog a bunch of times from, area towns. And at the time, it was Low Canine. They had a couple dogs. And I'm like, I'd love to do that. And when they posted the position, my chief at the time said, I'm posting the position. Get your stuff ready. And I did.
Really?
There was only 2 guys that put in for it at the time. And that was in 2004. And I wound up getting the job and had it ever since.
Really?
Yep.
Now, is Canine a newer thing for departments?
No,
or has it been around for a while?
It's been around for a long time.
Yeah, okay.
It's been around for a long time. There's more dogs now than ever before, though.
Okay.
A lot more towns because there's grants out there. that help with the
okay.
to offset the costs, doing the cars and purchasing the dogs. We're fortunate in Chelmsford. All 3 of my dogs were paid for by the Police Foundation, which is some businessmen in town. And they get together and have meetings, and they kind of offset some of the costs for the police department. Stuff that's not covered on the budget, and they've paid for all 3 of my dogs.
Interesting.
And the average dog's about $6 or $7 grand.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow, just the base to buy a dog to
Just-
get it in the apartment.
Yep.
Wow.
Just to buy the dog.
I wonder too if the towns that have as they've brought dogs on, if they've noticed an increase in the amount of catches that they get. Catching drugs or other things like that.
I'm sure. And there's one thing you can't measure is what they deter.
That's true too. Good point. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
Insurance
everybody.
value.
I've been around. I'm very active. A lot of people in the area know that Chelmsford has a canine.
Yep.
So I like to think that some of the bad guys are going to go shoplift somewhere else or do something bad, break into a house in another town because they know that if they come to Chelmsford, they're going to have to deal with a dog.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But I feel like canine is like the nuke. Nobody wants to get.
Yeah, nobody wants to get bit.
Yeah, nobody wants to get bit by that dog because when
No.
they bite, they don't let go until you tell them to let go. right?
Correct. And
Yeah.
then sometimes they don't want to let go.
Interesting. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's all, they're not mean. These dogs, we don't train these dogs to be mean when we do the aggression training. It's all fun. Everything that they're taught to do, tracking, narcotics, building searches, everything, at the end of what they're doing, they get their reward. They get their toy. And depending on what it is, like with the narcotics, I have a towel, a rolled up terry cloth towel.
Okay.
And I play tug of war. And it's fun for them.
So whenever he finds drugs,
Yep.
you immediately after you do that, he plays with his towel. You play with him with his towel.
Right.
And
Correct.
That's his reward.
Correct. I reward him when we're training. When we're on the street doing a live search, no, it's I give him verbal praise. I never.
Oh, okay.
I don't reward him out there. But if he does find the narcotics and we open up whatever it's hidden in or whatever,
Yeah.
I have narcotics that I take for training.
Yeah.
I'll go somewhere in our yard. We have cars that we've seized. I'll hide something, and then I'll give him the towel.
Interesting.
Give him the towel. But
Huh.
it's repetition over and over again. And what we do is when we're training the dogs for narcotics, we roll the drugs inside the towel.
Oh, okay.
So you play tug of war, and the whole time he's playing tug of war, he's sniffing. So that's how we do the narcotic thing.
Interesting.
So when he smells one of the dozen odors that we put out, he smells one of those odors, he's trained passively. He sits, downs, or gives me a head snap and looks at me. I give him his towel. My other 2 dogs were aggression trained for narcotics, and they wrecked a lot of cars.
Did they?
But these
Oh, that's
guys,
funny.
the cars that he wrecked, that's what those guys, they were doing that for a living.
Right.
And
So
never,
those cars weren't going back out of the street anyway.
no, and if we found something, fine. If we didn't, they were happy to be driving away because they beat us that day.
Yeah.
You know?
Interesting. Wow.
Some days they beat us, some days we get them.
Huh.
So, but it's nicer with the passive dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, less damage.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Less reports you have to write after the fact.
Yeah.
Let me just quickly reset. So just so everybody knows, this is Tyngsborough TV's Friday wrap-up. My guest today is Officer Dave Leo from the Chelmsford Police Department, who lives in Tyngsborough, but he's a canine for the town of Chelmsford. We're having a really cool conversation about some of the various things that happen with canine and some of the calls you've been on, stuff like that. In a few minutes, we're going to bring Flacco in and do a little demonstration with him. So we'll go just a couple more minutes before we get to that part. So stick around for that. Definitely don't tune out when we do cut away from this. We'll be back with Flacco, so you'll get to see some of this in action. I think that'll be pretty fun, actually.
Yeah.
Just really quickly, how does Flacco seem? Like, is he like, with you, is he like a loving, friendly thing, or does he just kind of like just do his job, goes in his crate, and that's about it?
He's a high drive dog. He's got a lot of drive.
Okay.
And that's what we look for with these police dogs.
Yeah.
They have to have drive. You can't teach a dog to have drive. What you can do is you can take a dog that has drive and channel that into doing the task that you want him to do. A lot of drive. Just crazy. He's not going to come in here and just lay down on the floor while we sit here and talk. He's just not going to do it.
Okay.
Because he thinks he needs to be doing something. So when he comes out of the crate of the kennel, we go in the cruiser, we go to work. And I don't even put the siren on. I put the lights on, the blue lights. He's up, barking, ready to go.
Really?
He can hear the ticking of the lights. So there's really no, like he's not laying on the couch, at home or anything like that.
You mentioned, let me ask you this. You mentioned like noises and things you make that get him to do different things.
Yes.
How does that work?
Hissing.
Yeah.
Like when we do the decoying work.
Yeah.
Because we all do decoying with the sleeve or the bite suit or whatever. But we'll do hissing and make noises and,
Mm-hmm.
and it just fires the dog up.
Okay.
Fires him up.
But those are his different cues in order to say, all right, it's time to
Yep.
do this or it's time to do that, basically.
Yep.
Interesting. Wow.
I don't have to say anything. I can just make some noises.
Yep.
And we'll fire him up.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He would just be looking around. If I did it, if I went into a room by ourselves, just the two of us, me and the dog, and I made those noises, he would be going ballistic, looking because I do those noises when when I want him to fire up on somebody.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be looking around, and the first person that walked in, good luck. That's why I don't have him interact with anybody.
Okay.
The kids or the wife or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because the kids messing around, they make a noise. That's not good.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Not
can
good.
imagine.
But-
Funny story. I was doing filming something with the Lowell Police one day over at the Songus Arena. In fact, you might have even been there. I'm not sure, but they had a couple of the canine units over there doing a training.
Yep.
And we were
Yes.
filming, and I was standing on the corner, on one corner, getting the bad guy, the fake bad guy in the bite suit,
Mhm.
running by me, and he ran by me probably about 3 or 4 feet to my left, and I didn't know it at the time, but the dog had stopped going after him and saw me and came after me, and the canine officer, the handler, made some noise or something. I never heard him yell or anything. I just heard this like noise, and the dog apparently, this was behind my back so I didn't see it,
Mhm.
but the dog apparently made this kind of like weird like zigzag thing away from me and went back after the guy who we were supposed to be chasing after. So
I mean,
pretty interesting. Pretty funny.
You work with the dogs. We do the PD1s,
Yeah.
which is a canine competition.
Okay.
It's actually a certification through the USPCA.
Oh, okay.
We do that. Some guys do it, some guys don't,
Mm-hmm.
because some dogs just will not do it because everything is off lead, and there are judges standing on the field and whatnot. So you got to have your dog locked on.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done the PD1s with all my dogs.
Mm-hmm.
The second dog, Axel, I had to work a little harder on him
Okay.
because he just wanted to bite everybody.
How's Flacco do?
Flacco did well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Flacco does well.
Nice.
But I didn't do it last year because he's getting older, and it's a lot on the dog. But I did it like the first 4 or 5 years with him. I didn't do it last year. I actually judged.
Oh,
So,
really?
Yeah, I'm going to get my judging certificate through the USPCA for narcotics and patrol.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been judging
Mm-hmm.
as of late.
Let me ask you this. You mentioned that that you lost your first 2 dogs early. They
Correct.
died. They passed a little young. What's sort of the top end lifespan for a canine?
8, 9, 10 years old
Yeah?
usually.
Okay.
Yeah. Flacco's going to be 8 next month.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, I already talked to my chief about it. I'm probably going to get another dog in the spring.
Okay.
By the time I have him fully trained up and running, Flacco will be pushing 9.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And if Flacco's still in great shape like he is now, I'll work the both of them.
Really?
I have a divider I can put in the cruiser,
Mm-hmm.
and I can take them both to work. And I'm putting a double kennel at my house.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, yeah.
So, they'll be separated, but I'll be able to take them both to work.
And so does the dog, until basically it passes, does it just continue to work police, or does it, like, after a certain age, does it then be I mean, obviously you can't give it to just any random family,
No,
but what happens to the dog after that?
I'd keep him.
Yeah?
I wouldn't give him away.
Okay.
Like I said, I've never retired a dog, so I really don't know. I might, after a year, I might say, you know what, I'm done. Anybody want this dog? Nah, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But I'll just, I'll take him to work still.
Yeah.
But I won't do the tracking or anything hard like that. He's a great narcotics dog,
Okay.
really good narcotics dog. So I'll keep doing that. Eventually I'd like to do an EOD dog.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Bombs and guns, which we don't have that many in the area,
Really?
and they're busy.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, they're busy.
Yeah, with all the illegal firearms that I'm sure you guys come
shootings,
across and things.
shell casings. Trying to find shell casings in a field is not easy. The dogs can find them.
Really?
Yeah.
Even something as small as a shell
Oh
casing?
my God, yeah.
Really? No
Yeah.
kidding, huh?
Oh yeah.
Jeez, I can't even find them when I'm at the range. I'm trying to pick up my brass. Like, where is it?
Oh yeah. Yeah. The dogs are great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing to watch the dogs. It's an article search is what it is.
Huh.
When we do it all the time. I'll take a set of keys and whip them out in the field, and then I'll send the dog out. I give them the command, and it's funny to watch a dog work. It's really cool actually, because they'll quarter the field.
Yeah.
They'll sweep one part, work onto the next, and then.
So, and the dog knows to do this?
Yes.
Really?
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. It's unhook the leash and let him go.
No kidding,
Yeah.
huh?
No interference from me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought that. I thought you would have to lead them to those areas. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Like Flacco, we got a gun a couple years ago that was used in a double arm robbery,
Mm-hmm.
and I found the bad guy's car in Lowell. I knew where his girlfriend lived. I
Mhm.
found the car at the apartment complex,
Mm-hmm.
and our detectives had gone down that night and they searched around the car and poked around, and it was parked along the edge of a swamp. And the next day, I said, you know what, I'm going back down there
Mhm.
because I was working that night. I went back down there, and I did an article search with the dog, and in the swamp underneath a rock was the gun. And our detective was like, no way, we already searched that. I go, well,
And the dog found it.
yeah, it was good.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's fun when you find stuff.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Especially a person. Yeah, it's
You
fun.
can run, but you cannot hide.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
They are a locating tool.
Yeah.
That's their main thing, is a locating tool. So
Interesting.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's fun.
All right, so we're going to take a really quick break. Officer Leo's going to get Flacco
Yes.
and bring him in. We're going to do a quick demonstration. So there's a whole bunch of people watching this, so don't tune out because we're going to come right back with Flacco and do a little demonstration here. We just need a couple minutes to set some things up. And yeah, we'll be right back. So everybody stick around with us, and we'll be right back, all right? Okay. All right. I think give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay. It's gonna be one of the first times we tried this. So, can you guys see me and hear me? Okay. Anybody still watching? I know you're still watching. I can see numbers. So while we wait, Officer Leo's going to get Flacco. I'll be right back. And a little demonstration. Let's see what happens. Good. Thank you, Release. Really can't see it up there, but Flacco's got to do his business real quick. Just like any other duck. While we wait, again, questions you want to ask a video, questions, feel free to put in the comment section on Facebook. I'm watching that. You can watch this on Facebook, YouTube, Tyngsborough TV, Podcast 8, Verizon 29, and tyngsborough.gov. And don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff on all this, because it gets all this stuff out there. The more people who interact with our pages, the more people can see it organically, as opposed to having data out and stuff like that. I'm not a fan of paying Facebook. Yeah. So don't forget, leave questions in the comment section, and they come in with them. Just turn this around. Excited too. It's like jump up and down. He's ready to go. The receiver just want to pep him up. Literally hiding behind the stairs. Because he's going to try to find it. Oh, he gets hit. That's some skill right there. Just not jumping that toy. Oh. Now, if you hide his toy in the room, will he search that out? Yeah. Can we do that? Maybe hide it or something? Find a guys want to go out the door and then come back in so he doesn't see me putting it there? Because he's going to know right where. Okay. All right, so you guys see this. I'm going to hide it behind these trash cans right here. Oh, he's mad over there, too. He wants his toy back. All right, so it's right there. Okay. All right, ready? Oh, he's mad at me. All right. So here you go. You get to watch a canine do his thing. Yeah. Whoa, there he goes. He got it. That's awesome. Nice. Very nice. Dave forgot to bring his drugs with him, so we couldn't hide any real drugs. And he's excited. No, does he react this way? He does react that way? Okay. Whenever he it's fine. Okay. That is awesome. Wow, look how still he can be, too. That's amazing. Such a well-trained dog. Okay. Okay. So just lots of repetition and lots of practice, basically. And they still drool just like any other dog.
They look cool, and sharp teeth,
If only I could get my dog to do that. I've tried with Cheese. She'll sell her soul for cheese, but that's about it. Yeah, here's a funny question. Why the toy as opposed to a food reward?
It's a lot more work because some dogs that's their meal. It's a lot more work. I've always done the toys with my dog. A lot of guys do the food though. Flacco is on a strict raw chicken diet.
Raw chicken? Okay. I've heard that about the raw diet. It is good for their fur, yeah. Yeah, not very good stuff. I mean, even if you buy the good stuff, we buy the good stuff for our dog, but yeah, it's... It is cool. What a good dog. Amazing. So, there you go, folks. That's how canine works. That's pretty cool. It's always a good day when you get to see a dog, right? And I'm desperately resisting the urge to want to pet the puppy. I'm not going to try it. Nope, I like my hands just where they are. Super. Wow. All right, I'm going to go back over to my computer real quick. I want to see if anybody's asking anything on Facebook. Hang on. See if there's any questions or anything like that. Hopefully you guys can hear this okay. It's a little different trying to do it with a mic. Oh, music's... We'll get rid of that. There we go. Sorry about that, folks. Give Dave a pork chop necklace. That's what Pete Nicosia says. Man, huh? It's all play, all fun, huh? That's okay. Yeah. So if you're a bad guy and you're pulling away, he's not going to let go of you. Okay. Ah. Yeah. You kind of just got. I mean, not that you ever want to be the bad guy getting bit, but you got to freeze basically. Otherwise, he's going to tear your whatever he's caught off. Yeah. Yeah. The bite suit, do you feel it through the bite suit? Feel the pressure? Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And you can hear the canine handler make the announcement, police canine, come on out.
Yeah.
And you can hear the dog on the floor, and you can hear the breathing getting louder. Been doing it for 15 years. It's still kind of crazy when you're sitting in a room waiting for this guy to come find you.
Yeah, so I'm going to come over here so you guys can all hear this.
Buddy, huh? Yeah, it's pretty intense when you're hiding, and you can hear the dog getting closer, closer. Even though you're in the suit and you're pretty much protected, it's still a little intense. Like you start to sweat a little, going, "Oh my God, what dog is this?" You know, and it's one of the big ones that it's just like a seasoned dog. Yeah. The new dogs, you're like, not a big deal. But some of these seasoned dogs that have been around for a while, they're all business. They're all business. It's fun for them, but they tend to bite a little harder. Huh. Tend to bite a little harder. Interesting.
Look at that face. He's beautiful. Beautiful shepherd. And smart as can be. He could do this all day, couldn't he?
He could. That's why I couldn't sit here for a 45 minute or an hour interview, because he'd be doing this, jumping all over me, and he'd be drooling all over the rug.
Just like Red Hooch, actually.
Yeah. He's looking at me. He looks up at me. I give him the release command. Yeah, out. Okay.
So he's watching you for your cues every time. He's got his eyes locked on you.
He'll roll his eyes up at me. When he rolls his eyes up, I give him the release command. Okay, that means it's good to go. But he won't look at me. We'll play that game all day long. But it doesn't take long.
All right, can we do one more hide with him? I want to hide that thing and let him search. All right.
Out. Hey, out.
I got to pick a good spot in here so we can find a good place for it to go where he can't see me.
Yeah.
That's all right. Oh, that's pretty slimy. All right, I'm gonna hide this thing. Oh, don't get mad. I'll give it back. I promise. I'm gonna walk around so I can take him off the scent. Let's see. There we go. We're gonna put it right. All right, you guys see that? There you go. We're gonna let him search around for it. All right, you're good to go. This should be no trouble for him. No, not me. Like, you took my toy. He traces my steps even though he didn't see me walk over there. Wow, right on it. Nice. Mm-hmm. Nose to the grindstone. Oh, I see what you mean now. When you're pulling and you're saying he's not letting go, but until you stop, then he'll let go of it. All right, that was pretty fun. Do you want to? What do you want to do now? Do you want to bring him back and then put him back and then come back and we'll wrap up? Okay, cool. All right. So there you go, everybody. I'm gonna let you watch him walk out. That is Officer Dave Leo and Flacco, the canine, German Shepherd. He's 8 years old. And obviously, it acts just like a puppy. Super cool. How fun is that, huh? All right, I'm going to come back over here, folks. All right, there you go. All right, that was pretty fun. What did you guys think of that? Was that cool or what? So any questions, like I said, feel free to leave those in the comment section. I'm watching that. Pete Nicosia, you're a nice guy with the pork chop necklace. Nice comment. That's good. You guys are pretty funny. Okay. All right. So yeah. So hopefully you guys had some fun with that. That was fun. I enjoyed that myself. Actually, that was a good time. Yeah. Any questions? Throw them in the comment section. Probably not a ton, I imagine, but I think we've covered quite a bit. Though I can't think of every question to ask. But yeah, that was pretty cool. So Dave's just bringing the dog back, bringing Flacco back. He'll be back in just a minute to wrap up with us, and we'll. Like I say, if you have any questions, get them in now before we wrap up the program. That was definitely a different Friday wrap up, I think, huh? That was pretty cool. Put my headphones back on. There we go. All right, now I can hear a little better. Okay. So, thumbs up if you liked that one. That was a fun episode. Any day you get to hang out with the dogs, with a dog, is always a fun day. And Dave is has a fascinating job and a fascinating person in and of himself. Gets to do something that, quite honestly, if I got to be a police officer, that'd probably be the way I'd want to go too, because I just love dogs. They're just so much fun. I feel like it's very much an interesting part of the job that anybody who's a dog owner or loves dogs probably would definitely envy, I would think, anyways. So that was pretty cool. Oh, don't forget, actually, no, so it's 15 minutes till the end of early voting. I meant to mention this at the beginning of the show. I apologize. I was distracted by the conversation we were having, but early voting ends today, so it actually ends at 12:30 today, so it's a little bit late to tell you that. Apologize for that. We got about 15 minutes. Oh, hang on. All right. So there we go. Dave's back. I'm back. Flacco's back in his cruiser, waiting for some action. Are you working today, Dave?
Tonight I'm working.
Tonight you're working
now.
Okay.
I think.
Unless something happens that you
Yes.
get the emergency call for. So there's always that incident or potential where if I have any of our officers or firefighters too have had that happen.
Yes,
with
correct.
the firefighters, the guys who drive our ambulance, like they could get called out at any time. So you could have to run at a moment's notice, I imagine.
Yes, that's why I had my phone with me, because you never know when it's going to go off.
Right. Yeah.
Never know.
Yeah. I imagine. Does that ever stress you out? The fact that you're always on call, or is it just you enjoy it and you're just waiting, basically?
I enjoy it to a point. It's it can be a little tough, a little demanding.
Yeah.
Not knowing whether I'm going to be going to work or not. I'm trying to scale back a little bit on it.
Mm-hmm.
For home life reasons.
I'd imagine.
You know,
right, yeah.
It's tough. It's tough. If we have plans to go out and the phone rings, it's like, but I know who's working. There's enough of us working now where I can pick and choose. I go out for the majority of the calls, though.
Okay.
I do go out for the majority of the calls, and but it's busy. Sometimes we're getting slammed, half a dozen calls in a week, and we could go 2 months without a call.
Wow, really? No kidding.
Yeah, we just never know.
Huh.
Never know what's going to happen.
Huh.
So
on one hand, you're hoping nothing happens, but on the other hand, you're like, I want something to happen because I want to go do some stuff.
It's never convenient.
Yeah.
It's never convenient when we get the call outs.
It's Valentine's Day and you're about to go out with Rachel for dinner.
Yeah, we're going to dinner. We're going to dinner.
She gives you that cross look that the wife gives you, which,
Well, like my phone will be in the kitchen and we'll be sitting on the couch watching TV, and the phone, my cell phone will go off. She'll go, where you going? And it's like, hopefully nowhere. We'll see what happens. I don't feel like going out tonight.
Right.
But sometimes I never sit at home and go, boy, tonight would be a really good night for a call out, and it never works that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's always, you know, after I work the double and I get home into bed and for 2 hours, and then all of a sudden the phone rings and I'm back out all night long.
Mm-hmm.
But once I'm out there, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Okay.
You know, it's the nature of the beast. You know, a lot of the younger guys on the job, you know, they know, like when you give it up, I want to do it, and I'm like, all right, well, it's, you know, it looks cool. I get the cool car, cool equipment. I go, but you know, you got to come out. When you get called, you got to come out,
Right.
because
Yeah.
a department will only call you so many times. Like if my department called me, I've probably missed in 15 years. You can count on one hand how many calls I've missed.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I don't miss a lot of calls. But if you don't come out, they won't call you.
Huh. You know, I was actually thinking of something. So we were talking about earlier about throwing the dog's scent off in the nose. Obviously, dogs have incredible senses of smell.
Yes.
So hearing also is big with dogs. They can hear very well, much better
Yes.
than we can, for sure. How does that work with gunfire, things like that, loud noises?
Yeah.
Does that affect the dogs negatively?
Well, I do train gunfire with the dog.
Oh, okay.
Not a lot, though.
Okay.
Not a lot, because he's not around it a lot.
Okay.
But I do, you know, train with him, doing, you know, firing my gun,
Mm-hmm.
and he's fine. And I have ear things that I put in. I either put, I have, you know, I have goggles for him, you know, goggles.
Really?
I have goggles for him, but I also have earmuffs for him.
Oh, really? No
Yeah.
kidding. They make earmuffs for dogs?
Oh yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah. I'll put them on him, and I'll fire a few rounds, not a lot though.
Okay.
Because I need to know how he's going to react. My last dog, Axel,
Mm-hmm.
took him to the range.
Mm-hmm.
I had him in a down. I took out my gun and shot one round, and he almost got me in the hand. He tried to bite the gun.
Really?
So, yeah. So I knew what he was going to try to do, so
Okay.
I had to work on that. I've done it with Flacco, and he's fine.
Really?
He gets amped up, but he doesn't try to bite the gun,
Okay.
which is huge.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't bite the daddy's gun. That's
Yeah,
not a good
yeah,
idea.
don't bite the gun.
If daddy pulls that out, there's probably a reason why that's there.
We try to expose these dogs to as much as we can.
Yeah.
And like the air wing, you know, the helicopter, Russ Flippin, who works in, he's out of Barica.
Yeah.
He's on the air wing. He used to be a firefighter in Barica. He
Okay.
arranged it so we could go down and do some training with him, and we took the dogs up. First, we put the dog in the helicopter, not running,
Okay.
not a problem. Then they started it up, and then you walk your dog. Some dogs putting on the brakes didn't want to go near it. And then the third part of it was going up in the air.
So you actually take the dog up
Yep.
in the helicopter?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Just to expose him to it.
Okay.
And Flacco was fine. He was laying on the floor, and I tapped on the window once we went up, and he sat up and he looked out the window, and he was like just looking around.
Huh.
Yeah. So the noise didn't bother him.
No
Nothing.
kidding.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's the absolute opposite of what I would have thought any dog would do. Yeah.
Some of them putting on the brakes didn't want to go near it, and you're dragging
Really?
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
we try to expose them to water. You know, different types of flooring.
Mhm.
You know, slippery floors.
Mm-hmm.
So it freaks out some dogs.
Mhm.
And fire escapes are huge. Like
Really?
the fire escapes, if they can see through, it freaks dogs out.
They don't like it.
They don't like it.
Interesting.
No, because they can't see. They can't see behind. You know, it just messes them up.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, fire escapes are huge.
Huh.
Yeah.
So there are limitations, like anything. I mean, we all have our
Yeah.
limitations, but they do have their limitations as well as far as what they will and won't do. It
Yeah,
sounds like.
yeah. That's why we try to expose them to as many different things. This next Wednesday, we're going to be training down in Belmont. We're going to be training with the fire department. We're going to go up on the ladder, onto the top of a building.
Really.
Yeah, and I do not like heights.
Mm-hmm.
And for me to just go up the ladder onto the top of the building, I'm moving. I don't like heights.
Mm-hmm.
When I have the dog, because I've done it before,
Mhm.
I'm concentrating on getting the dog up there. He's got his harness on, and I'm carrying him. I'm not focusing on the height. I'm focusing on getting up there. So it goes a lot smoother when I have the dog with me doing it.
Interesting. Because you're focused. You're zoned
Yes.
in on him,
Yes.
and he's honed in on you, I imagine.
Yeah. Kind
Yeah.
of freaks him out a little bit because he can see through down to the ground.
Okay.
So he's so light, I just pick him up anyways.
Yeah.
Pick him up and carry him.
How much does he weigh? Did you say 65 pounds?
Yeah, he's about 65 pounds now.
Okay.
Yeah. My
Wow.
first dog was 100 pounds, and the Axel was 85.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they were big dogs. Big dogs. He's smaller. It's nice. You know, we have chain link. He's trained to go over like an 8-foot chain link fence. He won't jump it. He'll crawl up it.
Really?
Yeah.
He can climb his way over a fence.
Yes. Yes.
I'm astounded by that.
We have an
That's-
agility area at our training facility in Boston.
Yeah.
And there's a 6-foot chain link fence up and over. Not a
Really?
problem. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What?
That's why when we build our kennels at our house for the dogs, always have a roof. Because they're 6 feet high typically.
Yeah.
And if there's something on the other side he wants to get to, he's coming over the top.
Huh.
So we seal the top right off.
Huh.
We seal the top right off.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I'd never. Jeez.
Yeah.
I never would have even imagined that.
Yeah.
That's
If
unbelievable.
If he went after somebody and somebody climbed a tree, he would try to get up that tree he would do everything to get up that tree
Really?
to the point where he would hurt himself.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
He wants his man.
Oh yeah.
Or girl.
Yeah.
A gal, whatever. Wow.
Everything he can do to get up that tree.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I learned a lot of things today. That's pretty interesting. I
Yeah.
had no idea they could climb fences.
Oh yeah.
That's unreal.
Yeah. They
No
won't.
kidding.
He won't clear a 6-foot fence, but he'll hit the fence and crawl over.
Wow.
If he can get his paws up towards the top, as soon as he gets that top bar, he's going over.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Jeez.
It's pretty cool.
So if you're a bad guy,
Yeah.
don't run.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna get you.
Just don't run.
Yeah. Don't do anything stupid in the first place. But
Yeah. I mean, when somebody runs in the woods, it's a bad guy, and we have a great perimeter set up. There's we have guys all surrounding the area.
Yeah.
If the guy's there, the dog's going to find him. He's going to find him. It doesn't matter what they do. They think a lot of times if they just lay down that we're going to go away. We're not going away.
Yeah.
And I hate going to a call where I'm working my dog and I can't find the person that we're looking for whatever reason. If they got into a car and leave, I want to know that. But to go and look for somebody and not find them, I don't want to leave.
Huh.
Until you hear that, oh, he got picked up. It's confirmed he got picked up by a car. It's like, okay, I can leave now.
Okay. Wow.
So it's fun. It's a game.
Does the dog get mad too when he can't get his man?
Yeah, he gets frustrated.
Yeah.
They'll get frustrated after a while.
Yeah.
The longer they go, the better it is.
Okay.
As far as like tracking, he'll go forever. He'll go for until he can't go any further. But if he's hot on a track, I know when he's on, he'll just off to the races we go.
Really?
Yeah.
Does he stop for snacks or
No.
like he doesn't? No, that's
No.
not even anything on his mind, is
Nope.
it?
Nope.
Wow.
He just keeps going and going and going. He might grab if we run through a stream or something. He might take a drink, but he's back on it.
Okay.
He's back
Wow,
on it.
Huh? No
Yeah.
kidding. He's not even stopping to like have a bite of cat poop or whatever.
No.
Why dogs like cat poop? I can't
I
understand.
know.
But
Once he's focused, he goes.
Yeah.
And it's just reading the dog, knowing when he's on and when he's not on.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's funny. Wow.
But as I get older, I slow them down a little bit on the track. And my first dog, I'd sprint the whole time.
Yeah.
Sprint. Just run as fast as I could. I'm a little bit older now, so I slow the dog down. But it's a more controlled track, and I
Okay.
can tell, it's almost like fishing. I can tell when he's on because I pull back on the leash. If I pull back on the leash to give him pressure, and his head comes up and he spins around, he runs behind me, does a circle, I know that he wasn't on a track. If I pull back, give him pressure, and he goes lower and pulls harder, he's in a harness, then I know we're on the track.
he's on something.
Yep.
Okay.
It's just reading your dog.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's just reading the dog.
I mean, not that it's the same thing, but I know I've noticed this walking my dog. If she if you pull a little bit, she kind of lets go. She's not really sniffing anything.
Right.
But yeah, she'll put her nose down. If she's on, if she wants to find whatever dog walked through before
It's
her.
the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same
Interesting.
thing.
Wow.
Like if somebody runs out in the woods, that they left odor. They leave odor. And if they're out there, when you're running from the police, you're sweating. From what they tell me, I've never been chased by the police before.
Right. Yes.
But yeah, they're out there, they're sweating, they throw off an odor. And these guys, when we're training, we're sweating, we're throwing off this odor, not the scared odor. Well, kind of scared because some of the dogs are more aggressive than others.
Right.
But they hone in on that and they just go. So you know when you're getting close. Like my dog's nose is down, tracking. If his head comes up and he starts hopping like a deer, he's in odor. The odor's everywhere, which means the guy's close.
Interesting.
And then I'll tell my backup, okay, heads up, we're close.
Have you ever had the incident? I want to ask this one last question before we wrap this up. Have you ever had the incident where they see you show up, they know canine's there, and the bad guy immediately just like
Yes.
throws his hands up and
Yes.
I give up? Yeah?
Yes. Yeah. We had car breaks. We had a bunch of car breaks going on, and it was a condo complex. They called me out in the middle of the night because they chased a guy. So I get down there and I'm like, the car breakers again. I pull up, windows, the windows are down, dogs barking, and I yell, police canine, come out. Or I'm going to send the dog in. He'll find you and he will bite you. And the kid was 15 feet in the woods. Hands went up in the air. Here I am.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I tell my
awesome.
guys, if you chase somebody, call bluff them. Tell them you're going to send the dog in.
Yeah.
And if they come out, you're not hurting my feelings. You got the guy. The end of the day, what you want to do is you want to catch who you're looking for. You want to find who you're looking for. And if you guys can do that before I get there, then good. That's good for you guys. Good for you guys. Bluff them. As soon as you say dog, a lot of people are like, I'm not messing with the dog.
Yeah, screw that. I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take me away, officer.
Yeah.
Wow. My wife's mad. She just tuned in. She's like, where's the pup? Honey, you just missed him. He literally was just here.
Yeah.
Yeah. When it comes back up, you can watch it on the replay, though. All right. So that was an awesome conversation. Thank you, Dave, for coming in. I appreciate your time today.
My pleasure. Anytime.
All right. Anytime you want to come back to, obviously, open invitation. You're welcome to come on, tell stories and whatever. I'm trying to get Dave to do his own show. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see if we can work that. If he's got time, I know you're a busy guy.
Yeah, my schedule's I've never had the same week 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
It's just all over the place.
That's all right. Well, when if you have some free time and you feel like you want to tell some stories, maybe put some things on tape that you can.
I hope my chief and my deputy chief don't watch it. Jeez, might incriminate myself.
Right, yeah. Well, we'll change the names and faces to protect the innocent.
Oh, God.
We'll play the Bad Boys theme music. Actually, no, we won't play that because Facebook drops off my videos when we play copywritten material.
Really?
Oh yeah, they crush it. I played. We when the Patriots won the Super Bowl last time.
Yeah.
I played like 30 seconds of "We Are the Champions," and they literally pulled my video for that. I was like, "Come on, really?" Anyways,
yeah,
my grape. But anyways, thank you again for coming on, Dave. I appreciate your time. Any questions for? The show's over. So Sue Robson says to tell Dave he needs to shave.
No, this is my Movember. It's
Movember?
no shave November. It's a fundraiser that all the police departments are doing. So,
okay.
So I'm growing my goatee. I think it's going to be all gray. I'm not sure. But, yeah.
Mine's patchy gray right now, so yeah, I feel you.
So I'll have this for the winter.
Nice.
Well, I'll have it for the winter.
All right. So that was Officer Dave Leo, runs K9 for the town of Chelmsford. Is a resident in the great town of Tyngsborough, though, so very cool to have him in. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff with your vast social media networks. It really helps to get these videos out. The more interactions with our page, the better reach we get with this stuff. So, and I know it seems like you guys really like some of this content. If you have any ideas for content, programs you'd like to see, questions you'd like to have answered, anything like that, always feel free to email me, sbrogan@tyngsboroughma.gov. And otherwise, folks, have a great rest of the weekend. It's going to be kind of crummy, I guess, this weekend. It's supposed to rain for the next half the weekend, right?
Yeah.
Sunday is supposed to be really nice, but tomorrow's not so much. So, also, there's a high wind advisory from 2 o'clock today until 8 p.m. tonight, according to National Weather Service, so you may get some calls for that.
Oh, yeah.
So watch for tree branches and trees in general and other things blowing in the wind, and make sure and secure all that stuff that's loose in your yard because there's some high winds and some potentially heavy rain coming through, according to National Weather Service. So, again, have a great rest of the weekend, folks. I hope you had fun with this show. This was a ton of fun. I think we all learned a little something today. I know I did for sure, and we got to watch Officer Leo and his K9 Flacco do some work. So, Dave, again, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And with that said, folks, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll see y'all next time. Take it easy. Bye.